We're doing a wonderful topic today called kujadosha in astrology, where Mars is placed in the first, the fourth, the seventh, the eighth, or the 12th house. Now, this is Vedic astrology, so this is something we don't get from Western astrologers. This is from the astrology of India. Jyotish astrology it's called. And I'm just going to read the definition of kujadosha from a book by James Braha. It's called Ancient Hindu Astrology for the Modern Western Astrologer. James Braha is a wonderful author on Vedic astrology. I do Vedic readings also, so if you want to get a Vedic reading from it, you're welcome to do that. And find out if you have kujadosha. Although at the end of this, I'll give you some information on some software that you can download for free in order to figure out if you got kujadosha. Kujadosha, the position indicates a Mars affliction. So therefore, married life and domestic harmony are spoiled unless the person marries another who also has kujadosha. So in India, if for those who are still philosophically oriented and believe in astrology, because not all Indians do, what the astrologer will do is marry somebody else who has kujadosha. 40% of people have kujadosha. So if, at least I think that's in the West, I'm not sure about the East, but let's, for now, I live in America, so we're going to do for the West. So what they do is they marry somebody else who has kujadosha, and it delays the karma and kind of, separates it so that it's bouncing up. If one partner has kujadosha, the other doesn't, then it can affect the other person. And Mars is aggressive. It's one of the first-class malefics of astrology. It's very good for people who are into sports or need a lot of physical energy or need a lot of confidence. You're a leader. It's good to have some kujadosha. Kujadosha tends to create a how should I say, a personality that is charismatic is the word. It's not boring. You're not going to be a boring. You're not going to have a boring partner with somebody who has kujadosha. They're passionate. And sometimes overly passionate. So this is something that they need to kind of refine in this lifetime because they misused their Mars energy in past lives, if you believe in reincarnation. So Taylor Swift has that. I'm doing this for the fact that Taylor Swift is getting so much attention lately, and also other celebrities. So I'm going to be naming a lot of, a fair amount, I can't everybody, but, a few celebrities that have kujadosha. I'm a guitar teacher, so I've taught, over the last 30 years, hundreds of people how to learn how to play guitar from all ages. And usually the young girls want to learn Taylor Swift songs. So I want to tell you some of the songs that I've taught to them by Taylor Swift. You Belong With Me, White Horse, Blank Space, Wonderland, New Romance, and Romeo and Juliet. Those are just some of the songs. There's actually even more, but I just wanted to let people know that I'm not here to say less than positive things about Taylor Swift. The only issue that I have with everyone, all the celebrities, that own several multi-million-dollar homes, that they really need to start helping humanity out more in a big way. So that's the only discrepancy I have. Of course, they don't think it's my place to tell them how to spend their money, and we have free enterprise and etc. But I think all of the avatars. Avatar means a direct descendant of the Godhead, so the great I am prayer. They've all been very clear to humanity that if you have some money, it would be best to help others, and then that would help you inherit celestial real estate, not just physical real estate. So at any rate, getting off my soapbox, I want to read a song by Taylor Swift, Blank Space, which really defines kujadosha. She says here, screaming, crying, perfect storms, I can make all the tables turn. Okay, rose garden filled with thorns. Keeps you second guessing like, oh my God, who is she? I get drunk on jealousy, but you'll come back each time you leave, because darling, I'm a nightmare dressed like a daydream. This is the kujadosha type. That kind of, one of her songs that describes, she's just telling you what kujadosha is. You know, then, oh, what is that part where the boys, oh, boys only want love if it's torture. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, so she's telling her lovers what kujadosha is. A Vedic chart will look like, let me see, here's her Western chart, okay? This is the Western chart. So she's got a lot of the moon and Jupiter are conjunct in Cancer. So she is sensitive, okay? And it's trining her career house. The moon is public attention. Jupiter is good luck, okay? So she's got some good luck and fortune in her chart when it comes, obviously, as you already know. A lot of Capricorn energy here on the rising sign in the Western chart. Hardworking, disciplined, someone who is consistent with marketing herself. Capricorn energy. A lot of celebrities have some Capricorn to keep them working hard to keep it. But that trine, the wind at her back with the public image and good fortune to her career house is really what gives her some good luck. And can be Jupiter overdoes it sometimes. So you like to overdo a good time. When she's not working, she's married to her work. Okay. It causes problem in relationships because she requires a lot of freedom. Sagittarius, she's born in the sign of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is one of the signs that's not very good with monogamy and just with kujadosha combined, I'm talking about. They tend to want a lot of freedom, and they're very independent sign. The most independent signs in the zodiac are 4. Aries, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Aquarius. They have the most difficult time sharing and kind of feeling like they can have a more simple life in marriage. But those signs are very open. They want freedom. They want independence. They want self-empowerment. So it's very difficult sometimes for them to settle down. It doesn't make them bad or worse than somebody else. It's just who they are. Okay. So, you got to be careful if you're getting involved with anybody you really want to make a commitment with. If you look at their chart, you may find out that their sign isn't sometimes compatible, in that area. But kujadosha, Taylor Swift's chart. Now I use the Southern Indian chart. This is what it looks like in India. Okay. This is the Southern chart. The Northern Indian chart has a lot of diamonds on it. I can't read it. I get lost in the Northern Indian Vedic chart. I got to use the Southern. The Southern, it's very relaxing to me. The Northern chart with all the diamonds. Where's the first house? Where's the second house? I get completely lost. So now we have Taylor Swift with her Mars in the 12th house. I didn't realize it was in the 12th. Wow. I thought it was in the 1st. But here it is in the 12th house. So, she's unable to, she's going to be 34 years old, I believe, in let's see, what do we have? December the 13th, 1989, she was born. I'm not doing any predictions on her life here because I feel it's inappropriate for somebody to come online as an astrologer and start predicting anybody's life. And so I'm just talking about kujadosha in her chart. Kujadosha, even though it creates domestic disharmony and it has a hard time settling down, the fact that she's becoming 34 years old, that's not a bad time to be thinking about settling down with kujadosha. So this is a time when she may want, for girls, women, their biological clock is ticking if they like to have a family. And she has her moon in Cancer in the Western chart. And Cancer is the mother, So there is a part of her that does want to be a mom. And very close to the mother. The fact that Jupiter is next to the moon, the relationship with the mother would be almost like a lucky charm for her. There's some connection with her and her mother and I'm not saying her father also wouldn't be that way, but it's just that having the moon next to Jupiter, the great benefit. she definitely turns to her mother for advice. And of course, when she was younger, she started off so young. So at any rate, so we have the kujadosha with Taylor Swift. And I think I've talked enough about Taylor Swift, because now I'm going to talk about other celebrities that have kujadosha. Girls that have it, women that are successful. Shirley MacLaine has it. Meg Ryan has it. Britney Spears has it. Nicki Minaj has it. Bill Gates has it. Former President Trump has it. Elton John has it. And the late John Lennon had it. Now he's free. He doesn't have anything anymore. Once you leave your body, the karma is done. Dustin Hoffman has it. And when you think about all the names that I've just mentioned, you can see that in their lives, in their movies. Dustin Hoffman, Kramer versus Kramer, going through a divorce and trying to gain custody back for the child. These very complex, stressful situations usually indicates kujadosha. Not always, but most of the time. So if you marry somebody that has kujadosha, you're better off. If you don't, my wife didn't have it. And so therefore I lost her early. That's one of the things that can happen, is you lose the spouse sooner than you want to. And you just have to, I would meditate. I've been meditating it helps refine the personality, the character. It helps appease the affliction of Mars, is what I'm getting at. And there are certain planetary mantras that you can chant for Mars and sit with, in a bijur, a small seed mantra for Mars. So kujadosha is, like I said in the song at the beginning with Taylor Swift, it can be a problem, in relationships. Even if you're compatible on other levels with the person. So at any rate, that's mostly what I wanted to say about kujadosha and some of the celebrities that have it. If you would like to look up a software program that actually can help you, you can download. It's free. It's called Hayden's Jyotish, Haydns, and then Jyotish, Jyotish, Jyotish. I can hardly spell that. So we have Hayden's Jyotish. You can download it, and then you can go into his software. It's a really, really excellent program. It's all free, and you can go in, and at least for that. And then if you want to get more and add something on like transit stuff, you have to pay a fee for the additional. But there's plenty of information on there. And you can put your name in, your exact birth date, your birth time, like military time, the way that they count it. And then you have the city and state, and you can bring it up, and you can get a chart like this. Now, Taylor Swift has a different rising sign. So you may have a different rising sign and a different sun sign. She's got her rising sign in Sagittarius in Vedic, it's in Capricorn in Western. Her moon is in Gemini in Vedic. It's not in Cancer. Still, Jupiter is there very close to the moon. Because she has Jupiter ruling her rising sign, which is very important, having a benefic along with another benefic, and it's in the 7th house. So that helps with, actually, she would attract a lot of people, even women, into her life, because the moon represents women and the mother. But just having the moon and Jupiter in the 7th house, it's in the 6th house in Western, but in the 7th in Jyotish, would be very helpful with the kujadosha. And she has a lot of relationships. This is really expansive, and we all know that from the media, just going crazy. There's some impracticality here with her that, kind of an obsessive need for attention, sometimes from the public with that. It's too much attention, as we are noticing. I mean, there are a lot of celebrities that go to sports games, professional football, basketball, and it doesn't create a frenzy, but for her it would, because it's overdone. One of the ways to avoid it is for her to have private parties in one of her multi-million-dollar homes. I'm sure there's some big rooms, and invite a bunch of her friends and people and enjoy the football games that way, instead of out to the public. And then when there's playoff games or there's the Super Bowl, obviously she'd want to go to that. I'm being like a father here. I'm 65 years old, but I'm just saying, it just makes, it does make life a little bit easier, for everybody, to not get so obsessed with this thing, a public image and all that. And then that, like Michael Jackson, what he did with, if I was his manager, I'm sure they did warn him it's okay to do what you're doing, just don't sleep over, like stay in a hotel away from that. Like there's certain boundaries, I guess what I'm getting at, that would be best to be paid attention to. And then that way there's less, problems, very difficult to have a relationship with somebody when you have the cameras always on you all the time. It's fun at the beginning, you get, ooh, ah, it's fun, but eventually it's going to wear on the relationship. When she has her time off, which she does from touring, you'll notice it's time to play. But when she gets back on a tour and got to create a new album and all that, then she starts getting serious. She's more married to her vocation in her chart than she is to other people, if you haven't noticed that already. So it's going to be, she's a career girl. And so it's going to be hard for her to maintain. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. Like I said, I wasn't going to do any predictions. But I will say that in her Sadi period, she is in a Saturn Dasha. The Saturn Dasha lasts for 18 years, and it started at the age of 29. It's going to be all the way to the age of 48. And that creates a maturity in someone. They have to start growing up. So at the age of 29, she may have already been starting. Remember, she had the relationship for a while. I don't know forget what his name was, but it went on for quite a while and then finally broke off. But I would say between August of 2029 and August of 2036, around there, that could be a time of loss, or, more loss than gains in life. And I won't get into specifics about that, because Saturn does cross over the moon in the Sadi period. It's a 7.5-year period where you process lifetimes of karma. And that could be a tough time for her. If she doesn't make the right decisions to kind of settle down, that could be a tough time. So at any rate, I think I've covered enough on that. And some of these other people, Shirley MacLaine, Meg Ryan, God, there's so many, Bill Gates, former President Donald Trump, Elton John. You think about all these people's lives, they've had a lot of, complications in marriage. They've had divorces, or they're complicated about maybe what path to take sexually, or society doesn't accept them. That's the other thing about kujadosha, is your partner may be critical of you for absolutely, like, why are they blaming me for that? I didn't do anything. That can be part of it. Arguments, overly passionate. We know that, for all of us, I'm getting a little drink, I'm getting a little dry here. For all of us who, I'm 65, we've had some experiences in life where you have a couple of those relationships that are overly passionate or whatever. And, for kujadosha people, like, you get into arguments, you get possessive, you get jealous, you get, all the complications come up, and it creates domestic disharmony. I think that Mars in the 4th acts a little bit differently than Mars in the 1st. Or the 7th, the 8th, and the 12th. It's more about possibly having a lot of domestic disharmony in your childhood. It deals with your upbringing and your relationship with the mother. One of the people that I'm surprised seems to be working out for is Nicki Minaj. She's wildcat. She's got the Mars in the 1st house. And she. In her Western chart, there's a whole stellium of planets in Sagittarius. Even in Vedic, she's got Venus, Mercury, and Ketu in the 12th house. So I think that it's a miracle that she's lasted this long in her present. She's gotten settled down. Hopefully but these are the kind of people, Mars in the 1st house, who really speak their mind and can be I don't want to, they have rougher edges around them. The girl would be what would be known as the bitch of the zodiac. And sometimes she comes across, as you already know, I'm trying to be kind here because she is I think she's attractive. Her face, her hair, she's very beautiful. And, but she can be very, just anything shoots out of her mouth, especially when it comes to sex and stuff. And this is the whole kujadosha experience. Dustin Hoffman had played, as I mentioned before, Kramer versus Kramer. Elton John, he's gone in and out with the whole idea of finally coming out at one point that he was gay. So and then former President Trump has been a womanizer and everything else. Cheating on his wife, etc. So they're not very good with monogamy, is my point. Britney Spears, boy, she have a tough relationship with. I mean, she's gone through a lot. Bill Gates recently, he separated, got divorced. So you can see this playing. John Lennon, and he had a weird relationship with Yoko Ono, but it was something that they was meant to be, and they seem to have worked that out, during their time. Kujadosha eventually with John Lennon would end him taking his life. Mars, aggression. He has Mars in the first house, so his physical body, ended up being attacked. So basically, I think I covered everything, right? If you have any questions about kujadosha, please click my subscribe button. But this is kujadosha. Namaste.